Hi there, my name is John Stevens. I'm pastor of Zion Lutheran Church in Oregon City, Oregon, and we are part of the ELCA. And welcome to Dollar Store Children's Sermons, where we take a look at the lectionary text and tie into an item from the Dollar Tree or the junk drawer, or the kids' room or the garage. You know, one of those places. I am so glad that you are with me, and Happy New Year. At least it's close to the new year. You're probably watching this maybe a day or two before the new year, but Happy New Year. So you could do a children's sermon on the new year, and there are plenty of options. I think I've probably done one or two that you can search up, but I am looking at the second Sunday of Christmas or Epiphany Sunday. I usually do Epiphany Sunday this Sunday because we don't do a midweek Epiphany service, and I also like celebrating the Baptism of the Lord Sunday. So do Epiphany this Sunday, Baptism of the Lord on the 9th. But if you are doing the second Sunday of Christmas, I have you covered. So we are looking at a couple of things. We're looking at, first of all, the second Sunday of Christmas has the story at the beginning of John. And, you know, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word became flesh, and the Word dwelt among us. And, or as Eugene Peterson says, you know, the Word, God moved into the neighborhood, or God tented among us. The Word moved into the neighborhood, and God tented among us. And I love those imageries, that the mind picture that paints. And so, springboard time for the second Sunday of Christmas is a tent, not a tent, a blanket, because I have a blanket or a sheet, and I like the idea of making a fort, a living room fort out of a sheet. You could make it, you could actually, if you wanted to, right in the sanctuary, take the two pews and put the sheet over there, and you've made a tent. You've made a living room tent, and God is tenting among us. I love that. The other springboards is you can find at the Dollar Tree many times small fake food or a tea set, like, you know, having afternoon tea. If you could probably bring in something, but a toy tea set. And this idea that God moves into the neighborhood, God tents among us, the idea of eating with each other and eating around the table with Jesus and God moving in. And I love that imagery of the intimacy of that. You could tie it into the gift and the sacrament of communion, that as we take in bread and wine, bread and grape juice, as we celebrate that meal, we also are highlighting that God moved in and tented among us. So I love that imagery. So that's the second Sunday of Christmas, looking at that. So sheet or tea set, something to that effect. For Epiphany Sunday, this is really my go-to Epiphany children's sermon, and we have it once a year, so you know, even if the kids go, "Oh, I remember this," they love it. And I'm always reminded of when I do a magic trick for a kid, or we watch a TV show, they go, "Oh, I know this one." And when we first hear it, especially if I'm doing a magic trick, when you first hear it, you go, "Oh, that means they don't want to see it again." Well, no, we watch TV shows again and again. "Oh, I know this one." And it's like, I want to see this. I know this one. I recognize it. So in the children's sermon, just because you've done it once before, that's not a negative thing. I mean, as we know when we preach about grace, 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 and grace, hearing about grace never gets old. Or it might, but we still need to hear it. All right, so for what I use for a children's sermon is it's my star puppet. Yep, it's a starfish swimming. Ooh. I'm almost looking at it like, "Hello, I'm Patrick's younger brother." Anyway, or sister. I don't know. So here we are, the star. And so I have a star puppet. Sorry about that. So I have my star puppet, and the star puppet plays the star of the show. I know, that was bad, but that's all right. The star puppet is the star of the show, and we walk around the sanctuary and we talk about how the Magi followed the star and sought out Jesus, followed the star to see Jesus. So we walk along, and I take the kids to the pulpit. Here in the pulpit, we find Jesus. We hear about the Word of God. We hear about the Word and the living Word. So then we move to the altar, and here again we find Jesus in this place. Then with bread, wine, grape juice, crackers, we find Christ in this place. And then we follow the star. I call this doing the star tour. We're going to do a star tour, and that's just for the adults. But we move to the baptismal font, and how we find Christ here. And in the baptism, in the sacrament of baptism, sacrament of communion, preaching of the word. Then I say, well, you know what? There's another place that we find Jesus. And I take the star and make sure lift it up high, and we walk out into the midst of the congregation, into the congregation, and we say, and Christ is found here, around here, through, in, with, and under all of us, as Christ holds us, and we find Christ in our neighbors. So that's where when we follow the star. Now, if you don't happen to have a star puppet, at the Dollar Tree, they have these Starbursts. They're fluorescent pink and orange and yellow, and you can write the star if you want on it, and then put it on a stick. So either a ruler, again, Dollar Tree has the rulers in the teaching section, and use that as the star as you walk along. You could also, if they have helium in stock, there's a lot of times they will have a star balloon, and you can have that blown up and carry that. You don't want to give it to the kid to carry. If you do give it to a kid, tie it on the wrist, but because then the star might, depending on how high your ceiling is. So that's the springboard for the second Sunday of Christmas and Epiphany Sunday. I hope you can find it useful for your own children's sermon. And as always, thank you so much for stopping by. I hope your Christmas season is going well as we walk through here. And Happy New Year, 2022. May God bless you in this year, and may, as God has been blessing you, and may God hold you, and may God walk with you, and may you be reminded that you are rocking it, and may God's blessings be on you. And I've probably already said that, but I can't say that enough. So peace, and we will see you next week.